Today is one of those lazy Thursdays, not in a bad way, more like slow and steady. I'm working from home, riding the flow, not forcing anything.
Good morning.
Good morning! So, this free mobile CRM helps me in managing my leads and my sales for my consulting business. So, I make sure that these are fresh, new audiences. Welcome to the Feel Good Grind, where I share my stories, wins, and insights in my business playground. Because business should feel good, not just look good. Breathe in. Just relax. Okay, a little bit faster na. So Charles drove for hours in Batangas, and we're still alive. Good job, Charlie.
Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, coming down like precipitation. I ain't never met a limitation. Hate plotting my elimination. Gotta go to Google for the information. I'm a superstar, so I gotta shine. Top dollar be the bottom line. Bottom feeding niggas out of line. Turn your heart rate to a dotted line. Yeah, my zodiac probably dollar sign. Got the energy to win it, my nigga, I'm feeling great. Got a date with destiny, focusing on my fate. I don't give a fuck what you rapping, you been a fake. I'm everything that they ain't, it can't be, it won't be. Wanna see me fall, I can't go, I won't leave. Coming from the block with plain clothes and police. Straight up to the top with bankrolls and rollies. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
So this week, we're working from home. Not by choice, but because the playground, our co-working space business, is fully booked. It's a good problem, and it brings us back to where this whole thing started, our living room. Music on one side, laptops on the other. The goal this week, so keep momentum going across campaigns and projects, even from home. So before the Playground PH became what it is today, I sold my software business, decided to retire and move my family to the province. I set up my music corner, a small home gym, and finally had the space to breathe. But every weekday, like clockwork, we drive the kids to school and then park ourselves at the cafe. So that became our rhythm, and one day it hit me. What if we built a place like that, but made for people like us? Not just another co-working space, but a place that felt like home, where work could actually feel good. And that's how the Playground PH was born. So today is Meta Ads Day. So this is when I usually introduce new ad creatives. So I do it every 7 days, or at times every 14 days. It depends on the performance of the previous ad. So I'd like to share with you how I usually structure my Meta Ads in the past months. So I'll start with that, but I'm gonna be doing a new structure and share with you that as well. So because I'd like to, scale up, further optimize my ad structure based on the changes of Meta Ads. So let's get to it. This is how I usually structure my sales campaigns in my Meta Ads. So I start with prospecting. So prospecting is basically new audiences, which I exclude all engagers, website visitors, and purchasers. So I make sure that these are fresh, new audiences. That's basically the first time who sees me. And then after is the retargeting campaign. Basically, these are ad creatives that re-engages warm audiences, people who have previously visited my site, my website, or engaged with my ad creatives. Third is scaling. So scaling campaign, these are proven ads. This is usually broad or advantage plus. And then my retention campaign, these are existing customers, basically previous purchasers who I'd like to do a repeat business. Alright, so in terms of budgeting, I budget about 13% for prospecting. Retargeting is about 7%. And then for scaling, it's about 67%. And then for retention, it's about 3% of my entire budget. For example, for the sake of simplicity, if my daily budget is 10,000 pesos, so it's about 1,300 for prospecting, 700 pesos per day for retargeting, 6,700 for scaling, and then 300 pesos for retention. So this is basically how I structure my sales campaigns, especially this year, 2025. But because of the recent meta ad changes, I'll be trying a new structure for my sales campaigns, hoping that it will optimize further my campaigns for more revenue and business growth. So for this one, pretty much the prospecting is the same, the targeting and retention are the same. The ones that I'm going to change is the scaling campaign. So these are basically still the proven ad creatives from prospecting. So pretty much the high performing ad creatives here in the prospecting, I graduated to scaling campaign. These are again proven ads with high ROAS and the highest ad spent. But this time I will exclude purchasers. And then I'm gonna be introducing two ad sets. The first ad set pretty much is the same setup as before. These are the winning ads from prospecting. I'm gonna be introducing ad set number 2, which is the top average order value ad creatives. And then I'm going to set cost per goal this time. For ad set 1, there's no cost per goal, but this time there is a cost per goal. In terms of budgeting, I'm going to retain 7% for retargeting, 3% for retention. Now is that I'm going to jack up the budget for prospecting to 45% from the previous 13%, and then 45% also for the ad set 1. So this is total 100%. So for ad set 2, actually is more of quote-unquote experimental. So I'm going to do a 2x of ad set 1. So whatever the budget here, I'm going to 2x here. It's a bit scary, but don't fret, because since the idea here is to set cost per goal, so it will not jack up the ad spend if we are not hitting the cost per goal. So again, this is promising because we are getting the top AOV or average order value from this ad sets or winning ads, and then jack up its budget. So that's my plan for the new structure, which I'm going to share the results in a week or 2. Ako kasi, in my preference, I always start with finance and accounting. Sinabing balance sheet kasi, nandun yung accurate record of our assets, liabilities, and net worth. So, are you confident with your current balance sheet? Or you think, okay, to figure out the integrity of your current financial standing. So once we validate that, then we can see really your profit and loss. I cannot be confident sa profit and loss without the balance sheet. So that's the one we need to validate first. Once we have validated that, then we can already pinpoint yung other pillars when it comes to ano yung dapat ayusin. One example, sa construction, ang common issue dyan is yung receivable turnover. And it all boils down kasi sa documentation. So, yung proper contract at the onset, at the same time, yung documentation on every milestones or completion. So, that's the one. At saka yung timely billing. Usually, yun naman yan diba? So this free mobile CRM helps me in managing my leads and my sales for my consulting business. I'd like to share this with you. So today is one of my regular visits to Makati to attend to a compliance issue of one of my clients. I usually drive to Manila twice a week for in-person consulting. Since the launching of the ads yesterday, got several enrollments already. And so on top of my enrollments, usually I get leads from inquiries directly to my page or through my email. The way the CRM helps me is I'm able to track those inquiries, track its status, assign tasks as well, so that I don't miss out on something or a follow-up or a call. There's a lot of CRM systems in the market, but this one is really simple, and it's just a vanilla CRM for monitoring tasks. Now, if a different story if you're managing a team of salespeople, but if you're like me, who's mostly doing it solo, which is an intentional move because I'd like to do it clean and neat. So without further ado, here it goes. So from this link, just click get started and then enter your information. So once you enter your information, it says you've been registered, please check your email and verify. So go to your email and then just verify, and then from here you go to so from the dashboard you go to apps and then CRM. Alright, what I do every time there's an inquiry, I just quickly add that lead so I don't forget it, its contact information and whatnot, and then I add a task. So for example, a call on this day, and so on. And then the CRM, you just have a quick reminder of what you have to do. I just open it on a regular basis, like every morning or a specific time block. And then once, for example, my process is like once I qualify or pre-qualify the lead, and then I know that the opportunity, say, is private coaching or a workshop, I just add that opportunity, enter the information, possible potential revenue, and then that's it. So again, on a daily basis, I just scan my leads, what's its status, set its status. This is a quick and vanilla sales process that I do if you are an individual. But again, if you are managing a team of salespeople, I strongly recommend another CRM, say an O2 CRM, which is there's a lot in the market like Salesforce, Fresh Sales, Zoho CRM, and HubSpot and what have you. But if you're someone who needs help in setting up CRM or generally fixing your process in sales for B2B, say for B2B, then feel free to reach out to me in the description below.
What's your personal take on personal branding or branding in general?
If you look around, for example, there in here, we're in Molito, so see that Bolchico brief. What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
You didn't know back then what you've been knowing now. Before the broken skin and letting your love out, playing the tape again. It's such a sorry sound. Old shaky monologue, just dragging you around, reaching for reset, reaching for reason to begin.
Well, if you look around, for example, there in here, we're in Molito, so see that Bolchico brief. What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Miko. Steak.
Steak.
No, but seriously, it's Miko.
Okay. Oh, that's for you. That's your perspective.
Yeah.
Diba? So that's a good comment because some people has different take on it. Like me, um, it's about a different type of premium steak and cheaper. That's what it could be for me. But that one, chujiri,
Matcha?
is there some kind of emotion or
I just know it's Japanese.
how about that one, hungry homies?
Lauren Oy?
The owner, yeah,
The
which is, yeah, that's the honest thing. Me naman, burger, I tried their burger. Before I used to have lunch there sa Makati. Frankie's obviously chili wings, but not so premium, a little bit affordable. How about this one, Fatsi Cafe?
I don't know. Nice is an understatement. It's fusion.
It's a perfect cafe for
It's a
you as the audience now.
Yeah.
Perfect because
It's vibey. It's not
Vibey.
not your ordinary boring cafe. It's
Okay.
vibey in the sense that the ambience is good, food is good, music is okay.
and you have a variety of food.
From
They have a kitchen. Most cafe, for example, Starbucks, Coffee Bean, you know, I don't think they have a kitchen. Tama ba? Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think they have a kitchen, but they have a kitchen. So generally, that's your perspective. In my perspective, I see Fat Seed, it's a good place to not only chill but also work. Somehow, I can also see it as a co-working space. Some people might have a different perspective, but that's my perspective. So I think to your question, that's the answer. The branding is all about how you do your business. I mean, the way you do your business kinda resonates to the audience and gives an impression to the audience, an emotion, you know, or some kind of like a probably loyalty or love, you know, or something like that. So the next question is, how can you develop your brand? It can be intentional, it can be not intentional. Some people like yung mga mom and pop na karinderya, for example, I don't think they're thinking about the branding intentionally. But if you want, say a specific food item like goto in Batangas, we have one establishment or a mom and pop in Batangas that first thing that comes to our minds. So, yun yung brand na develop sa kanila unintentionally. No, but you want to be intentional about it, then you have to start with your purpose. What is the pain point that you want to solve? Or what is that promise that you'd like to fulfill for your audience that will help them get to the place where the audience want it to be. Diba? Like for example, I wanna buy a gadget, a laptop or a phone that will make me feel that I'm using a premium equipment. So the first thing that comes to my mind is Apple. So I think that's how you develop your brand. You have to be intentional about it. What is the pain point, the dream that you'd like to help your audience fulfill. And then once you have identified that, then that's the time. I think these days you can develop campaigns or projects or content that will help you execute your purpose. In my case, I started creating content with not being intentional about the brand. But before my personal brand, the brand that I was intentional about to develop was my software company, Kingston. That software company established the brand that time is I can solve anything. So whatever problem that the customers experience, the software company, we're able to solve. So that's the promise. Whatever business process or automation issue that I retire, I started doing content about my knowledge and experience. And then, eventually, unintentionally, it became a go-to person when it comes to questions about business process, digital transformation. And the reason why I became consistent about it is that my intention was really about that purpose, but just to document it for legacy. So that's in my case. I mean, then eventually I became mindful about it, and then I positioned myself as, my promise is that if you, or my tagline, if you make smart decisions in your business, then you get better business. Smart actions cause better business. So meaning, smart business processes, then better business. So now I'm intentional na about it, and I want to stay in that lane up to digital transformation. But going back for people who's doing business or personal brand, you have to identify. I think most people are, misconception is that branding is about visuals, about logo, about colors, the themes, etc. To me, it's important, but it comes after you have identified your purpose and then your positioning, what can you offer that is unique. Yun yung USP, unique selling proposition. You can do that by analyzing your competition, and then ano yung saan sila weak, and you position yourself doon saan sila weak, that you can be strong, and again, to serve your purpose. And then the tagline, the logo comes next. May mga scientific ano pa yan, implement sa branding. Like, pag pula, there's a different impact or impression compared to green, black. Medyo technical na. I have some charts about it, but
Example, I'm opening a restaurant business. Where do I start with the branding?
yeah, going back to what I just said. So you have to identify what is the pain point of the people around your vicinity. Kasi tingin mo is hinahanap ng market na wala doon. For example, in your vicinity, walang mga family-oriented na restaurants. What about food business? Walang fast food. Yun yung easy explanation about it. It can be family-oriented restaurants, but yung branding nila was not executed well. For example, yung plate nila maliliit kasi doon malalaki. Of course, obviously, if you want family business, what you offer is bigger tables and bigger plates. Social media naman, your content is not always about the food or the menu. You also talk about family. Tagline like, the family that plays together stays together, or parenting. While the talent is in the restaurant, yun yung pwedeng content yun. So, and again, the last thing that I can say is that being consistent also about being consistent in sa pasad pa lang ng restaurant, meron ng impression ng pang family, again sa tables, diba, sa menu. Kung pang yapis naman yan, so it's a different take, parang patsy type of vibe. So basically yun lang. I think we don't have to complicate branding. It's all about consistency.
Okay, so about choosing a name.
Okay.
Choosing a name for your business. How do you start choosing a name?
That's a good question kasi, well, yung pinakamadali pa lang, especially if you don't have a brand established yet, make it a bit descriptive. Diba? So, for example, going back to sa family restaurant, pwede, as simple as a family restaurant, family grill.
Yeah, or like Babes, Gotong Batangas and Inihaw na Liang po. So
Yeah, that's
you know
very-
exactly what they're selling.
Exactly. So, again, speak, fam resto or family grill. So, if you want to be intentional about it. If you notice, yung history ng mga logo, minsan yung logo nila, full description. Diba? Pero kita mo yung evolution nila, paliit ng paliit, until yung icon na lang. Kasi, by the time na nakilala ka na, hindi mo na kailangan mag-explain.
Right.
So, make it, again, based on the feature that you offer and your unique selling proposition.
In today's business landscape, I notice a lot of coffee shops are popping everywhere. How will you stand out?
Yeah, that's a good question again. So, I think going back to what I said, you have to analyze first the competition. Okay, if I'm gonna do it like Starbucks. Starbucks, problem with Starbucks, I mean, you have to start with your experience with those cafes. Problem with Starbucks is that they don't have internet by default. You don't have sockets by default. There are some branches na may sockets. Maingay if you want to work. Then, pag naman say Coffee Bean, they have internet but it breaks down most of the time. So, they have sockets, yes, but the choices of pastry, for example, is halos pareho lang sa Starbucks. So, ano ba yung pwede kong opportunities doon? One opportunity is cafe with unlimited internet, fast speed. And then I can say na I also have a backup internet. So that alone will tell the audience na reliable ang internet doon, may backup. I mean, as easy as that, as simple as that.
No, but and it's not just about that part of the restaurant, the cafe, it's the coffee itself, just the food itself.
Yeah, I know.
How will you stand out? Or
Again, we're talking about the experience, diba? To me, kasi
let's make it different, the experience.
to me kasi yung taste ng coffee should be standard na quality. That's the first thing. That's the thing na you don't talk about na because it's assumed na cafe, masarap ang kape. Should be. Hindi ko na siya binabanggit because that's too obvious. Number one, dapat masarap yung food mo.
Yeah.
Dapat masarap yung kape mo.
Masarap
So,
kape.
I cannot talk about it because I'm not technical enough to know paano ba masarap na kape. But that's the default. But when it comes to the food options, yun nga. Like what I said earlier, Fat Seed is a good positioning because they have hot kitchen. And Starbucks and Coffee Bean, they don't have. So they are introducing like a brand in Coffee Bean, like Coffee Bean Bistro or something like that. Coffee Bean Kitchen, they have kitchen. But it can be experimental. So that's the food options, the experience. Ano ba yung pain point? Again, ang pain point in my eyes is wala akong masaksakan, wala akong reliable yung internet. Yun lang naman, because the vibe naman. So, you can also position na my promise as the cafe, it is going to be silent. Diba? It can be as innovative as that. Silence, bawal magingay. Nakalagay pa lang dun sa ano mo. So,
No talking cafe.
no talking cafe. It can be your positioning. Diba? So, it can be effective. I can be attracted to that because sometimes I want to work in a silent cafe. And then call it the library cafe. Ayun lang naman. So, generally, again, look for the unique value proposition and be consistent in every activities or campaign that we do. It's all about that unique value proposition.
Right. But what they're gonna give is just a high level goals, diba? For each of them, no. But that will, I mean, the strat plan will happen after the VPR.
Yes, that's what I recommend.
Today is one of those lazy Thursdays, not in a bad way, more like slow and steady. I'm working from home, riding the flow, not forcing anything. Just a few coaching sessions, follow-ups, and meetings. Just the kind of quiet work that moves things forward. Started the day drafting our telemarketing scripts for the Playground Danawan membership push. We've got sign-ups from the waitlist and now it's time to call them. Then I shifted gears, prepping for tomorrow's Agile Scrum training. Working from home isn't always glamorous, but it gets the job done.
Good morning.
Good morning! So, nasa distribution ka na sa CDO, tama ba?
Yes, sir. Oo.
Livestock feeds, okay. So, kasi kung sino yung kausap nyo, pero if you're talking to seasoned HR service provider, then when they propose, they have to give all the possible functions ng HR, which is broad yan di ba? From recruitment, onboarding, retention, performance management, training, and whatnot.
Yes.
Siguro, hingi ka sa kanila ng buong functions that they can provide and then dun ka pipili, di ba? It's the value I can provide. I just need to understand how you do it now. And then, we have to optimize yung accounting, yung capturing of transactions, and help naman pagdating dun sa aspect na yun. Di ba?
So easy
Sige, so tatalo na ako dun sa implementation, ano. Yun. So naglagay ako dito ng mga sample activities, no, based on dun sa process na pag-usapan natin. So from kickoff, data gathering and validation, configuration and development, client UAT, end user training, go live, and project closure. Diyan, ano. But pretty much ito yung implementation life cycle natin. Let's start with so project kick-off with client, no. So pretty much scheduling nung kick-off with the client, tapos ma-explain sa kanila yung scope. Ano ba yung methodology na ginagawa natin, which is somehow yung Gantt chart na pinakita ko kanina, similar to that, ano. And then ano yung mga responsibilities ng bawat isa, both the client side and our side, no. And then yung availability of the internal champion nung client. Part of it is that also the business process understanding. It can be within the kick-off meeting or it can be a separate meeting. Basta within the week, hopefully, may i-describe nila sa atin yung business process. Kasi ang assumption dito is that meron na silang blueprint of the process. Wala silang blueprint ng process, during pre-sales, we should be recommending that na meron dapat kayong standard process. So, question now is, when I say business process understanding activity, do you have question, is that clear to you? Or you have questions on how to execute it? Wala naman. So, pretty much it's just them telling us ano yung proseso nila, di ba? Ano yung ginagamit nilang forms, etc. So that when we do the configuration ng code do, will be based on that, no? Alright, so yung susunod na step, so ideally, in a week, magawa tong mga to, no? And then part of it is mabigay sa kanila yung pre-implementation requirements, di ba? So, dun papasok yung second stage, which is the data gathering and validation. Okay? Kung papansin mo, dito, 3 parts siya, no? 3 weeks. Kasi yung first week, we are allowing them to collate all the data, no? Kasi medyo madami yan, especially kung accounting, inventory, no, chart of accounts, supplier listing, beginning balances, inventory listing. And most of the time, yung current data nila is hindi siya malinis. So meaning nagtatanggal sila ng duplicates and whatnot, ano. Now, pag pinasa yung data sa atin after a week, then meron tayong data validation. So we have to also double check kung yung completeness of their data. Kasi minsan hindi naintindihan nung client na kailangan pala lahat ipasa. Yung iba partial lang ang pinapasa. 'Di ba? 'Yun. Now, kung kulang siya, nag-alat lang tayo ng data finalization stage kasi assume na natin na may kulang. And we will tell them and then we'll give them another week to complete it. Kaya meron tayong another sprint na for data finalization. But if hindi, kung okay naman, di wala ng data finalization, yun na yun. Right, so next step is configuration and development. So 2 parts, no? Configuration, which is yung pag-set up ng mga data na binigay nila, no? Pag-i-import, tapos pag-set up ng mga users, credentials, and whatnot. And then part of it also is the development. Dito papasok yung napag-agrihan na i-customize doon pa lang sa kontrata, no? So dapat malinaw yun. I think we've discussed that, no? Doon sa kontrata, malinaw dapat yung mga pinadadagdag nilang forms or pinapa-customize na forms, fields, etc. Okay. Part of it also is kung may napag-agrihan na integrations, no? Yung mga integration ng payment gateways, mga logistics, etc. So later on, we might encounter that, ano. Meron tayong napag-agrihan before na hanggang 3 iterations. So iteration 1, ang process kasi is that pag may na-develop tayo na something based on the sprint, maganda may present kay client na ito yung nagawa so far, kahit hindi pa tapos. Para lang at least aligned tayo na yun yung expectation, no? Or ideally, matapos kasi present. Hindi pa siya sa UAT, ah. Iba pa yung UAT dun sa presentation of the customized part or module of the system, no? Pag sinabing iteration, yung napag-usapan natin kanina sa Agile, yun yung sprint review. So, yung sprint review, maganda dito, mapa-review din natin sa client yung natapos, no? Again, hindi pa siya UAT, it's just a demonstration of ito yung nagawa so far, no? Now, expect na during the presentation of that, may possibility yan na may maisip na change request. So that's why naglagay ako dito, iteration 1 and possible change request. Yung pag-usapan natin change request process, meron tayo ditong change request handling process, no? So pag-present natin sa kanila, the functional consultant will log that new request to sa change request tracker natin, di ba? And then itatag siya kung out of scope. And then doon papasok ngayon yung impact assessment nung technical and the functional consultant kung ano yung development hours to do that change request. Okay? And then kung usually naman kung yung change request is out of scope, billable dapat yun. So doon ngayon papasok yung parang mini quotation natin o change request process na nandun yung fee at ipapa-approve sa client kung go or no go. Diba? Kung no go, then puput on hold yun. Tutuloy na, tapos na yung development kasi wala na silang change request eh. But if the change request is something na within the scope naman or very minor lang, diba? Hindi na kailangan idaan sa quotation. Pero may gagawin ka pa ring iteration. Kasi it's still an open item eh. Does that make sense? Oo. And based dun sa napag-usapan natin before, we can allow up to 3 iterations. Sinimplify ko lang siya dito, but the development iteration can be multiple sprints, no? Depende sa laki. Okay? Kung maliit lang yung project, 2 form lang, isa, no? So isang linggo is enough. Pero kung madami silang pinako-customize, then that will be planned. Depende dun sa development effort. And it should be pre-planned dun pa lang sa kontrata, dun sa pre-sale stage, no? Before the sprint review with the client happens, dapat may internal tayong review, no? Bago natin i-present kay client, no? So ito yung part ng internal QA and validation. So pag natapos na yung configuration and deployment, then client validation na and training. Yun na yung UAT. Okay? Simplified version lang din to. 1 week na testing iteration with the client of the entire modules that they have availed. No? So, usually kung CRM, implement lang nila yung cycle. No? Pagkasama yung accounting, implement yung cycle ng accounting. And may pre-approved na parang test scenarios. No? Then again, naglagay din tayo dito ng possible change request. Kasi during the testing, aside from issues na may encounter nila, may possibility na mga change request again yan. No? And then we are providing up to 3 iterations ulit. Again, kung simplified project lang, 1 week kasi is enough to do it. And don't be encourage rin yung client na hindi dapat yung end user ang mag-UAT. Diba sabi nga natin, dapat may champion. At the same time, may specific people lang ang gagawa ng user. Kasi advantage din yun sa client because yung mga end user should not be hindi dapat sila iniistorbo sa implementation. Kasi may iba silang ginagawa eh. Meron dapat designated UAT team si client. Kaya ultimately, it's a UAT. UAT acceptance form. This is very important kasi after ng acceptance, end user training na. Doon na mag-involve yung end user. Alright? So, ang idea dito is that wala na dapat change request. Kasi na-accept na nila yun eh. Kung meron man, phase 2 na lang, tsaka billable. Gagawin lang na end user, susunod siya according dun sa instruction. Ano dyan yung guide? Deliver training sessions by role, provide the user guide for the modules covered. Ideally, may attendance sheet, may per session, para may accountability din yung end user na natutunan niya talaga. So, after the end user training, nandun na yung go live pre-production. So, once nag-go live na sila, yun na yung kasama sa process natin yung hypercare period. So, most likely, yung support dyan medyo heavy dahil yung mga end user gagamitin na nila eh. No? So, about 2 to 4 weeks na post-go live. Then again, yun ang pag-usapan natin. It can be ang acceptance of the project. Kanina, acceptance of the UAT. Meron ding acceptance of the entire project. Ang project closure, ang criteria natin naman doon is usually the reports in 1 month cycle.